Hello, this is John Peters, and today on the book review I'll be talking to Graham Slater, UK author and music publisher, and also a scriptwriter. Hello, Graham.
Hi JP, nice to be with you.
And you as well. It's a bit cold now, isn't it?
It is cold and wet. Oh, it's lashing down here at
The books that we're covering this month, we're going to look back over 3 books that we've featured during the year, aren't we?
That's right, yeah, and I think you and I have chosen the same ones, which is great, really. I mean, we're Jack, of course, so yeah, I think it's good that we've got the same 3. So the first one I have is Borderline by Hilary Custance Green. It's beautifully written, and it covers Slovenia as it was many years ago. Very thought-provoking.
Gold Press. Well, the second book we reviewed during the year was The Wheel's Final Turn by Monica Brinkman.
That's right. And this was a sequel to a book, The Turn of the Karmic Wheel. And actually, I had that a couple of weeks ago, so I said I'd read that over the holiday, and maybe we can review that early next year, JP. But it's a very good story. I mean, it's quite violent. It's, again, intermingles the characters who are very different. Totally different, and what can I say? One's a wood carver, one is a governor, a state governor in America, one is an animal torturer, so they're all quite odd characters and horrific characters. Well, they all meet at the end, if I can try to explain it like that. But the governor, he's well into it, but he's done all sorts of devious things, and literally The Wheel's Final Turn, it leaves you. It was a good book, and as I said to you when we did the original review, I said I'd like to read the first book to see how it got to where it did, and how she was able to finish the first book, maybe not even knowing she was going to write the second one. I don't know. I should be interested to read it. But yeah, it's a very good read. It's very different. You can do it in one sitting almost. It's not a huge book. It's just looking at a number of pages here. Yeah, it's only got 100, 110, 111 pages, so that's not a huge book, but it's a very good read, and it's something that's very different. I've not read anything like it before. Depends what the prequel's like, but I'll be interested to read that and just see what's what. We did also comment on the front cover, which is this lovely old antique water wheel, isn't it? This one near us, Dawlish, and it's just like that. It's a good cover.
Yeah, the chapters are very short in the book, though, being only 110 pages, isn't it?
Yeah, some of the chapters are literally a page and a half, 2 pages. When I write, I try to make a chapter about 6 pages. That's 6 sides, about 6 pages, because I'm mindful that people, if they're reading in bed, they don't want to sit there and read 20, 30 pages of a chapter or thumb through it, because it will put them off it. Now, her chapters are very short. Of course, what she's doing is one here that's just a page, actually, chapter 8. What she's doing, of course, is setting the scene for, the final countdown, if you like. So I can see why she's doing it, and she's written it. The chapter layout's almost filmic, how it would be in a film where you go from one scene to the next, and hence the short pages, really, or short chapters.
Yeah, there's one chap in there in the book, because we're not going to go in great depths of it. Yared Williams, on the review, he had a blue Stratocaster. He called it blue.
Yes, he did. You're dead right. His father didn't want him to play it, but he did play it in the end. He loved that guitar, and he knew, of course, that he would actually, the Nemesis knew that the protagonist would be playing it at some point, and therefore, and he does it at a big launch, which is in front of lots of people. So smoke does rise, if you know what I mean.
Yes, it does. Well, that's The Wheel's Final Turn by Monica Brinkman. It's I'm just trying to see who.
Published by All Things That Matter Press.
Oh, that's
and
right.
It's £10.45.
Now the third one and the final one for this month, it's the Beatles. It's a message from John, Paul, George and Ringo.
Yes, and this book, it was a pleasure to read. It's quite unique, and the gentleman who wrote it is a guy called Chris Hutchins, or Crispy Hutch, as John Lennon called him.
That's right, yeah.
But he was asked to go and interview them when they were in Hamburg. They already had the hit record. They were booked to play at the Star Club for the final time. They already had the hit record. I think Love Me Do was sort of in the lower ends of the charts, but they'd still been booked to do a month at the Star Club, where they played several times. He built up quite a rapport with them, more so with John Lennon than anyone. But as a result of going over to Hamburg to see them, he actually was with them a lot of the time when they were on the road. And one of his claims to fame as well as working with the Beatles and putting this book together, he actually got them to meet up with Elvis Presley. And Elvis Presley wanted to meet them, but he didn't really ask to see them. They wanted to meet Elvis, but didn't want to be asked. So what Crispy Hutch did is he eventually got in touch with Colonel Parker, who was Elvis's manager, and wangled it. So they went to Graceland, ended up having a jam with Elvis Presley, who played guitar with them. It was great.
That's the Beatles. Messages from John, Paul, George and Ringo. It's Neville Ness House?
Neville Ness House, yeah, publishing. Chris Hutchins, from Neville Ness House, and it's a great present for Christmas. Some of the photos in there are photos that I've not seen before as well, which is always a nice thing to do, because we all see the same photos recycled time after time after time. Astrid, of course, also a Little Richard. But yeah, they're the boys. That's the book for musicians, people who love the Beatles, love music. I think Messages from John, Paul, George and Ringo is the music one, and the other two, great for anyone who reads. They're very, very good books. Okay,
that's all three then, Graham. We're going to look at books for January.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I've got one here. I've got a couple actually, so I'll sit down and read those over the holiday.
Okay, Graham, we'll speak to you next month then.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.